Hello, my name is Cheryl Erickson and I'm the Indigenous focused ECE instructor with Louis Riel Vocational College. Today in Chapter 7 of Understanding Children Through Observation, we're going to look at evaluating the environment. But before we get started, just a reminder to read Chapter 7, as this video isn't a replacement for your chapter reading. So when we look at evaluating the environment, we want to look at a few different aspects of that. And the first one is looking at our preschool environment through the eyes of the child. And so what should our environment encompass in terms of benefiting the children? So through the eyes of a child, children in a high quality program, high quality to them may mean feeling accepted for who they are, no matter what their culture is. It also means that they're having friends, that they have responsive adults, good relationships with the adults in the environment, being emotionally and physically comfortable within that early learning environment, as well as having fun. We know that children learn through play and there's great benefits to that, but the children should be finding joy and having fun in their daily activities. Those activities should also be interesting and engaging for those young children. We also want to consider what the parents' perspective is on this. And so what does quality childcare mean to the parents of children in your early learning program? And so quality could mean safety, that the children, their health and safety is the priority of the program, that their child is happy, that the program is convenient, maybe located in the neighborhood where they live in, it's affordable, the caregivers are nurturing to their child. It could mean a good balance for work and family, so they have peace of mind while they're at work. They know that the caregivers are ensuring that their children are well cared for throughout the day. And so high quality could also mean that the children are being prepared for school, so those school readiness practices are in place, that the children are learning social skills such as cooperation, that environment is ensuring that all families' cultures are respected. And so often high quality care for parents is that their children are making friends, that they're happy, that they're learning and growing and thriving within that environment. So when we look at a high quality program as early learning professionals, we want to look at different perspectives within that program. And one of the tools that we're going to talk about and we're talking about in class is the different environmental rating scales. And so Manitoba Early Learning and Childcare has used environmental rating scales and has rated centers in the past. And those rating scales come in forms of preschool, school age, and infant. And so those rating scales for infants, it's called ITERs. For preschool, it's called ECHRs. And for school age, it's called SACRs. And so these rating scales look at all aspects of a child care center, from children having lockers to store their personal belongings, to staff having lockers to store their personal belongings, to equipment being at eye level, safety parameters within your environment. So these rating scales encompass what a high quality program should entail. So we look at health and safety and good hygiene. Is there soap in the bathrooms for children to wash their hands? Is there paper towels for children to dry their hands? What types of nutritional value does the menu in the center have? So is it providing 4 food groups? Does it provide a hot lunch or only snacks? So that, is in itself high quality if the center is incorporating a hot lunch program. Is the environment well maintained and set up? So our toys on shelves at the eye levels of children? Are bins for toys labeled? Is there a specific spot on the shelf? So we know that's important because children should know where things go, should always be able to go to a certain shelf within the room to find a specific toy they're looking for. Opportunities for active play. So does your environment allow a space within aside the center that offers children large muscle play where they can run and jump and have that rough and tumble type of play? What types of materials and equipment you have within that area? Does your environment have opportunity for children to sleep? Are there cots? Are there mats? So these are all part of those high quality types of functions. They observe interactions with staff and children. Are staff attentive to the children? Can they anticipate children's reactions? Are they meeting the needs of those children? And that's just in your daily interactions. If you're involved in the children and their play, you're being responsive and reacting to things and helping children problem solve, opposed to putting out fires within. You're just getting up and dealing with issues as they're coming along or as they're actually happening. You want to foresee things and try to eliminate behavior problems or potential problems from escalating. So that's being attentive and responsive to children within the care setting. You want to communicate and support parents. So what are your programs? Communication systems is important too. So you're evaluated on that as well. Are you respectful to diversity, gender equality, and inclusiveness in your program? So with these different types of environmental rating scales, I just show up here on this slide, it's actually the ECE's rating scale. I just have the cover so you can see what it looks like, and we'll review these in the classroom so you can see actually how each area is rated. So with each of these different rating scales, they'll have specifics to certain areas within your early learning environment, and you'll be able to be rated from 1 to 4. 1 being low quality and 4, say, being high quality care. And so ideally you want the higher quality of care, because that makes your center a high quality program, and that's what we want to strive for as early learning and childcare professionals. So unfortunately, I'm not able to show you in this video how the rating takes place and what the parameters are, so that's something you'll have to check in with the instructor in the class. Evaluating environments. This is just a little bit of information about things that you can look for when you're evaluating environments. And again, when you look at evaluating children, you're going to select your observation tool. It's going to be confidential. You're going to have permission. That's very important. You're going to define, what it is you're going to be evaluating, say within a specific area or within your environment. One of the things that I did when I was in college, as far as looking at evaluating your environment, and that I've done with other classes, is going into an early learning childcare environment and sitting down on the floor, because as adults we tower over children and we tower over the physical environment. But if you sit down on the floor and you look around, you're seeing the environment from the perspective of the child. And so that's a really good way to set up your actual functioning of your environment. So when you look at how your room is set up, you see your room set up within the eyes of the child. Can they easily reach things on the shelves? Is it cluttered? what obstacles may be in the way? Can you see defined paths into different areas? And that can be really helpful when you're changing things within your environment. So you wanna look at that. Is there safety things as well? When you sit down and you look at it at the level of the child, can you see broken equipment or damaged equipment or things that might pose safety risks? So, this is just some things that can be useful when you're evaluating your program as well. Other types of things that are important when you're looking at your evaluating your program. Every center should have a philosophy and should have policies and procedures. So that's important to a high quality program. You have steps in place and practices in place that are going to be valuable to you as ECEs, their goals, and really important in terms of defining what you want to see accomplished, what you want to see the children accomplish, or what your program is going to, or how your program is going to benefit the children and the families in care. And so your philosophy is, your values, again, your beliefs of how children are learning, that they're learning through play, what you as ECEs are going to offer your children, that you're going to offer them learning opportunities, developing all 4 developmental domains, how you're going to go about doing that, what types of activities are going to be provided to the children during the day, that you're an inclusive program, so you're going to ensure that you're meeting the needs of all children, how culture is defined in your program as well. What your ratios are, what your group sizes are, very important to quality care. Often quality is deemed by lower adult-child ratios because that allows you to spend a little bit more time one-on-one with the children. And so, again, this is all important practices to you as an ECE for your philosophy, your values, your goals, and how you're going to share that with families in setting up, evaluating your environment. And so just a few other things as well. When you look at evaluating your environment and say per se activities that you're implementing with the children, are they developmentally appropriate? And so you're looking at developmentally appropriate, meaning is your activity designed for a 2-year-old, but you're implementing an activity with your 5-year-old? Is that going to be something that 5-year-old is going to be benefiting from? Probably not. It should be developmentally appropriate to that age of the child, as well as consider that maybe a 5-year-old isn't developmentally at the same level as the rest of the 5-year-olds. So you're going to have to consider that not all children are at that developmental level, and so how are you meeting those needs as well? When you look at your program as well, how do you involve parents within your program? Are they on your board of directors? Do they help make policies? Do they volunteer? Do they help with menu preparation? So what is your parents' role within that center is considered important in how you evaluate your environment. Staff turnover is a big issue as well. If you have a high staff turnover, you're not providing high quality care to your children. That can become very confusing to children. It can become very upsetting to adults as well. They're going to wonder why staff aren't staying, what's happening within your center that's making staff leave. So there's going to be a little bit of maybe anxiety, and so how that affects your environment and the quality of care is important too. Positive communication for staff is part of high quality in evaluating environments. How does staff communicate? What is your role in making sure that staff are receiving important information about children and families, and where is that information located, and is it only accessible to staff. So when we look at those environmental rating scales, they're going to have all those components in it, and if you're not meeting like for example, staff communication, if that's one of the parameters in that rating scale, if you have no communication system, you're not going to score past 1. And so 1 meaning at the low end of quality. If you have a communication system, you scored 1. If staff write in it, you score 2. If it's easily accessible to all staff, then you move up and you score 3. So that's kind of how it works. If you don't have some type of system in place, or that system isn't functioning effectively, you can't score any higher. So within that rating system, that allows you to see where you are at in your environment and how you can effectively work towards a better system. And so ultimately, that's the outcome of those rating scales. And so, for example, when I look at, say, health and personal hygiene, if you have soap dispensers in your bathroom for children to wash their hands, that's part of that rating scale. If the water, if the sinks are at a low level for children to easily access them, you're going to score higher. If the water temperature is appropriately, it's not too hot, it's not too cold, it's set just right so that it allows for children to wash their hands in an appropriate temperature of water, you're going to score higher. However, on a day where you're being rated, if the soap is out and you don't have any paper towels in your dispenser, you're not going to score it accordingly. So you have to make sure that you as ECEs are being professional and that you're ensuring that those types of materials are there at all times as well. So that's just, another issue within that system. So you're always going to want to make sure that you do your due diligence as a professional to ensure that that's happening every day on a regular basis, because that's important for health and hygiene for the children. And so that does conclude Chapter 7 on evaluating children's environments. Please do see your instructor to if you have any questions or concerns or comments, or need any information regarding the Chapter 7 and the information shared. Also, please check in with your instructor to see the information regarding the environmental rating scales and how these scales are utilized. This is something that we will be practicing hands-on in the classroom. Also, check in with your instructor to ensure that you haven't missed any assignments or handouts pertaining to Chapter 7.